I've just spent the best part of 3 days in 30-degree plus heat and 90% humidity shoveling dirt into these raised garden beds so that we can get our new gourd tunnel up and running for this summer. But at least 1 ton of that soil that I slaved and shoveled in was unnecessary, because I made a rookie error and didn't get the proper garden soil that I really needed. G'day, I'm Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, and in this video I thought I would take the opportunity to explain to you guys what type of garden soil I typically use in projects like this, large raised garden beds. The characteristics I look for that makes a good soil, and why being particular about what soil you get is very important. So let's get into it. So what makes a good garden soil? Well, after passionately growing fruit and veg in the backyard for close to 20 years now, I have a fair understanding of what soil food plants love to grow in. And I can say truthfully, right off the bat, that the best soil is the stuff we grow ourselves. The drawback is homegrown soil, or the really good stuff, can take years to develop in your own garden beds. But we'll talk more about growing your own beautiful homegrown soil a bit later on. Firstly, and realistically, when you're doing a project such as this, which requires quite a lot of soil, most of us will go out and buy it in bulk, because it's unlikely you can pinch trailer loads of soil for free, particularly for those who live in suburbia. And that's fine. Buying soil in bulk is practical and needn't break the bank if you know what you're looking for. And you'd think, even I, a YouTube gardener, backyard fruit and veg grower extraordinaire, I'm only joking, but you'd think that I would know better, that I would know what type of soil to buy for a project such as this. But even I got lazy a few months back and filled 4 of our new raised garden beds with inappropriate soil, and that led to poor growing results. The problem was, I listened to our local landscaping supply centre and believed them when they said buy the premium soil because this will be the best for your vegetable garden, instead of listening to my own inner instinct and experience. The lady at the counter convinced me that their compost and manure enriched premium soil was a superior blend of medium specifically designed for growing vegetables, and that I wouldn't be disappointed. Well, I did end up being disappointed, and even though at the time when I got down there and I saw the soil being loaded into the trailer and I had reservations, I thought, well, look, I'll give it a go. And I was wrong. Got the soil in here, and the plants, they just didn't grow very well at all. Now, I'm not one of those soil tester gardeners. You know, I've always preferred to solve any soil issues through observation, trial and error. So I'm not going to bore you with the pH results, etc. because I know what's wrong with this soil anyway. And it's typical of most soil sold by landscaping supply companies. Lack of organic matter. And you can just see it by looking at it. Organic matter is the key to a good garden soil for growing backyard vegetables. Organic matter, with respect to the soil, can be defined as any material that was once living, such as plants and animals. Whereas non-organic matter, or inorganic, basically are the metals and minerals in the soil. And yes, I know it gets more complicated than that. So before anyone states the obvious in the comment section and says something like rocks and sand can actually come from organic organisms like coral and crustaceans, let me just say, for the purposes of this video, examples of organic materials in soil are pieces of plants, animal bones and manures, and examples of inorganic materials are rocks, sand, dust and minerals. The right balance of organic and inorganic materials for growing fruit and veg in the soil is important, because too much of either is going to produce poor growing results. Too much organic or inorganic matter can make the soil too heavy, or in some cases too light, meaning that growing plants will either suffer from waterlogging or not enough water. Permeability, meaning how well the water travels through the soil, can also be affected by an imbalance of organic versus inorganic. For example, largely inorganic soils will form a hard crust on top, making it difficult for water to penetrate the surface. Organic matter when in the garden bed, it provides the main vehicle for food to the crops, making them grow lush, especially for vegetables that are pretty hungry. Whereas inorganic matter, like this basic loamy sand type soil, that can carry minerals and other types of nutrients like trace elements that is also beneficial for plant health and strength. So a good blend and mix of both is what's required, not too much of either. Organic matter also provides food and a home for microbes and small animals such as worms and fungi in the garden beds, which create a symbiotic relationship with plants, nourishing them, protecting them and helping them to absorb nutrients. It's no secret that the best farming land, well, the best farming areas anywhere, are those established on soil created hundreds, if not millions of years ago, rich with natural organic matter. Those black and red crumbly soils full of dissolved organic matter are the perfect medium for growing crops. And you can do the same in your own home garden. Over time, all that's needed is patience and the right balance of ingredients. Then once that organically based rich soil is developed, it will provide an excellent growing medium for fruit and veg forever, with just a little care occasionally. If you look at the soil in one of our old garden beds, you can see the difference between it and the new medium here. The fact is, this soil once looked, felt and had the same qualities as this new stuff. But years of adding compost, manures, mulch, green crops dug back into the beds, being populated by animals and fungi, has transferred the soil from that into this. Now I know what you're thinking. Mark, do you seriously believe you have to grow your soil over years from this till that before you can even start growing your vegetables? And no, I don't. Of course you can grow food in poor soil immediately and successfully if you prepare it correctly. Hell, a lot of supermarket produce is not grown in soil at all. It's grown by hydroponics, using volcanic rocks or just plain water with nutrients pumped into it. That's not the point though, and I don't want to get into comparing hydroponically grown produce to soil grown, except to say personally, I think most soil grown food tastes better. And if you don't think so, why then does the same grape variety make a different tasting wine from one region to the next? Sure, there are many factors as to why, but one big one is the soil in which it's grown. But anyway, let's get back on track. The problem with the soil I got the other day was not that it wasn't fertile, because it was. The problem with the soil was that it didn't have enough organic material in it. And the way to fix that is, of course, to add plenty of organic material. Unfortunately, all our homemade compost is depleted now. So what I did was buy packaged garden soil / compost, and I fixed the issue by removing the 3 or 4 inches of poor soil threw it into these new raised garden beds here, just as fill, and replaced it with the better medium. This will give any future crops a better growing medium initially, and over time the topsoil will merge with the porous soil underneath, and overall the soil in these raised beds will slowly develop into good quality. My advice to those who are filling raised beds like this and need to buy the soil is to not fill it up fully with the bulk stuff. Leave some room for plenty of compost and mulch to be placed on top, as this will help greatly. Landscape supplies companies won't mine their soil from prime farming land. They will generally try to mix poor loamy or sandy soil with their own compost or mulch, calling it a garden soil blend. Then they will mix in some chicken or other animal manures and call it a premium garden soil blend, selling it for an extra $10 more a tonne. Unfortunately, adding fertiliser to average grade soil does not make it premium soil. It just makes it fertile, average soil. So beware of this marketing ploy and buy the cheaper standard garden blend instead. Then add your own compost and fertiliser, as it will save you money overall. One other important thing that you should note when buying garden soil from a landscaping centre, for example, is to make sure that the soil is screened from things like weeds, such as nutgrass, and other impurities. Good landscaping supply centres source clean, uncontaminated soils and screen them for weeds, seeds, pests, etc. The last thing you want to do is pay top dollar for soil or fill, especially for a prized vegetable garden, only to find that you've introduced disease, incessant weeds, or God forbid, contaminants into your precious vegetable garden. So make sure you do your research on the landscaping joint that you're getting the soil from. Ask them questions, things like, do you screen the soil? Where did you get it from? That type of thing, so that you're clear you're getting a good product. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I sure have learnt quite a bit myself over the last few months, and I wanted to share this experience with you. If you did like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to share it around, because that helps a lot. Thanks a lot for watching. I've got to get back into some work. There's maybe an hour left of daylight, and that's plenty of time for me to get cracking and still get a few things done. So many projects, so little time. Bye for now. Oh yes. Gourd tunnel. I can picture it now. Hanging gourds, beans, winged beans, maybe some underplanting of some chilies. Yes. How fantastic.